people, the biggest party in Western Europe, use it to do what? To drive out the Blairites, to create a new left party. Oh no, we have to wait till 2020, John Lansman said to me. I said, you must be living in cloud cuckoo land. In fact, you are. If you think you can wait till 2020, the right are not going to accept it. They're going to pursue a campaign to remove Corbyn. We have a civil war taking place. We have a civil war taking place within Podemos, which I'll comment on this afternoon, in which one, Iglesias, you have this figure, Erdogan, who's a kind of taller version of Owen Jones, who puts forward the same kind of defeatist philosophy that Owen Jones, who went from being a left now to a prop, him and people like Paul Mason, and they write articles, and they've written articles saying social democracy has failed, but long live social democracy. That's in effect the proposal they put forward. And then they've moved on now, and they've looked for a progressive capitalism with a magnifying glass going throughout the world. We said to John Lansman, he says, I want a social democratic party, Peter. I said, good luck. Where will you find it? Tell me somewhere in the world, in Germany, in Sweden, in France, with Hollanders on 4% in the present opinion polls. It's gone. Social democracy is predicated on the development of capitalism that will allow substantial reforms. That is no longer possible. What we're faced with counter-reforms, and moreover, the cuts that are taking place, and that's the gist of this article, will produce a mass movement, whether we say or not. And that is why, after we said, okay, let's give time to Jeremy Corbyn, let's step back and say we won't stand necessarily in some areas. Well, we won't stand against lefts. Now, unfortunately, there are no such a thing. That was repulsed. We said we'd like to join the Labour Party on the basis of a federation. The 75 and after them. That was thrown out by the right. The right called the tune, the left remained, the so-called left remained silent. What other choice do we have? We are not primarily concerned about a particular conjuncture in this or that party. Our responsibility is to defend the working class in struggle. And when it comes down to the cuts, we have no alternative on a trade union level. And how marvellous it is that ASLEF in this ballot in the last couple of days repudiated what was potentially one of the greatest sellouts of workers, where the General Council of the TUC was playing the same role as they played in the 1926 general strike, of organising a sellout with one section of workers, and how marvellous it was. And it's a portent of what is likely to happen in Britain in the period that we're going into. So it's possible that you could have, if these two by-elections go against Labour and Corbyn, and that's what it comes down to, because it's based upon, it's really his position. They don't even talk about the government under pressure. They see this as a referendum on Corbyn, most of the press. It's not at all certain, by the way, that they will win, because what's also come to the fore, and this is a portent, is the National Health Service. The NHS may save Corbyn despite the compromises that have been conducted because of the attacks that have been made of moving.
Ian's going round.
No. Do I get a few more minutes for
No.
that? He might be saved by the NHS and the uprising of workers on that question. Comrades, I think we have an explosive situation developing wherever you look. It's only possible to give a thumbnail sketch of the world situation. However, the last point is to understand our role in relation to what is likely to develop. It's not an accident that we've attracted this organisation. I'll give some of the details this afternoon. After a long period when we were separated, and it's been on the basis of them coming to realise the CWI was correct all along in relation to the issues that were discussed in 1990. It's not an accident that in the US we are playing this role. When I last went to the US, when I first went to the US in early 2004, I spoke to 5 people in Seattle. When we went back this time, 2 years ago, we spoke to 800 in Seattle. We have the election of the first socialist councillor in 100 years in the US. That's resonated. This is the, throughout the world, this is the photograph that appeared in the Metro. Sharma Savant, Fist of Fury, Fight Trump, and the billionaire class. She's had invites from all over the US, from Latin America, and also from Europe. We hope to have her at Socialism this year. It's not an accident that that is developed. We've developed that position on the basis of a clear program, but also turning towards the mass movement itself. We have 1,000 members now in the US, and that's as nothing. And that's a quadrupling of our membership. That can happen and will happen in Britain in the explosive period that we're going in. The CWI can become a pole of attraction for all that's best in the working class, of those workers who are looking for a struggle, and that's why we have to prepare ourselves by analysing the situation, of drawing conclusions from that in terms of our activity, of building our party, of not being a bit downhearted when perhaps people don't turn out as they should do at meetings and so on, because of all the cross currents that exist in the working class, the struggle for a daily existence in what is an horrific period developing in Britain, where you have a war now in the health service, in which the March the 4th demonstration could be a huge demonstration. And by the way, the beginning, and that could save Corbyn. Corbyn is not yet written off. I don't want to give that impression. There could be a surge where there will be a rebirth of a left within the labour movement itself. But what we've shown is nothing can cut us off from the mass movement. The reason why these comrades came towards us from Spain is they saw what we were doing in the US. They saw what we were doing in relation to Corbyn. They've seen the work of the CWI, and they said, well, this organisation is the one for us. We've had protracted discussions. I'll deal with that later on. I'm whetting your appetite a little bit now for that discussion. Politically, we've arrived at agreement, but that's only the beginning. That can be the case for other Trotskyist, Marxist organisations in which we could build a powerful pole of attraction worldwide and build a mass party. We're not a debating society. We're not here for the sake of it. We're here to build a mass party. Of course, a journey of 10,000 steps begins with one step. And the one step is to build our party, to reach our targets in Britain, to build on our organisation, and in that way, prepare for the future. I've got no doubt that there will be mass waves. The Observer has got no doubt there will be mass waves. It's in the very nature of capitalism today. The question is, will we build the leadership that's worthy of the working class? Not just in Britain, but worldwide. We have to say we will, and we have to go ahead in the course of these discussions and our work in the future to realise that task.